Hello and welcome to these interactions. We have Dr. Giri, Chairperson of the Schumacher Institute and Professor of Practice at the News University, Bhubaneswar with us once again. We are discussing an important development, in the sense, something which has held sway over the national media and among the people as well. The massive Kumbh Mela that happened in Prayagraj in Uttar Pradesh. There have been several developments related to the Prayagraj, starting from the number of people who attended, the stampede that occurred, the questions on the number of people who died there, and of course we had another stampede in New Delhi railway station also when people were going to the Kumbh Mela. Dr. Giri has been involved in some sort of off the beat and exclusive investigations on what has happened at the Kumbh Mela. And he has also got some individual perspectives on the religious practices associated with the Kumbh Mela. Not only Kumbh Mela, but also about religious practices as a whole. But Dr. Giri, I'll start with you with the investigation that you were part of. You had done some inquiry as to the number of people who had attended there, the kind of people who died in the stampede. Can you show some light on that?
Yeah, we were asked to study the number of people that visited Kumbh Mela. All kinds of claims were made. Every Kumbh Mela, I think, the head count is done. So this year also, but it was said that some 52 crore, and people thought it is an incredibly large number. So we should really probe how many people actually visited. The other aspect is the management of the crowd. They had anticipated and they were welcoming, encouraging large number of people to visit Kumbh Mela for obvious reasons.
But it's also a kind of business.
That's right. Yeah. Business, political capital, financial business. So, but the kind of consequences that we witnessed, that prompted us to investigate why this happened. Was there adequate arrangement, or they just gave a slogan and tempted people to come and threw them under the bus?
Right.
Yeah?
Right.
So we found that really the management was quite poor, and particularly in railway station and railway stations from Delhi and other nearby big stations. There should have been adequate preparation. One should see the carrying capacity of the platform, or even the city. That exercise was not done, and people really fell on each other and died, which is very unfortunate. And I think the administration is squarely to blame for this kind of unfortunate, unnecessary and avoidable deaths.
Yeah, but the point is, there was also tight control on the media after this episode happened throughout the Kumbh Mela. Of course, on the one side, you had these numbers being bandied about regularly by the official authorities and as well as being carried by the large sections of the media. But when it came to the problems that the people were facing and the kind of harassment that they had to go through at the hands of the authorities, and also the kind of tribulations that were faced in the process of doing the snan and taking the holy bath and all that, but that was not properly covered. So what exactly is the inquiry that you have done? Have you presented it to some people? Is it going to be kind of made public, and kind of will there be some kind of process through which there will be a follow-up?
But certainly it has been partly used, and if you saw a statement in the press that somebody very boldly said that it is not a Kumbh Mela, it is a Mrityu Mela.
Right.
Meaning it is really a rendezvous of deaths, not in religions or your beliefs.
Yeah.
So that was there, but then there were other people that would be used, and this I would say misuse of people's sentiments in the name of a religious festival, that if they throng there, if they go and have a holy dip, all their sins will be washed and all their wishes will be fulfilled. This is this kind of a mindset that has been engineered in the minds of even innocent devotees. Is really that's what we are bringing out. That is absolutely inhuman, because people, as you said, were subjected to various kinds of inhuman treatment, even while performing the darshan and the Islam. You see, and that was not much covered, because then things would have been exposed. But independent investigators like our friends and our team, they have found out how messily it was done, and people had to really run helter-skelter to get permission even to enter into so-called the sanctum sanctorum of the festival.
Right.
So it was mismanagement. On one side you see very tempting slogans, religiously tempting slogans, and on the other side you see inadequate arrangements to receive these devotees.
Right. But that has also had an impact, I think, from across India. Even in the states like South Indian states like Kerala and Tamil Nadu, there were hundreds of thousands of people who kind of came to the Kumbh Mela, and I know from my own personal experience that many of these people, especially the middle class people who came for the Kumbh Mela, they were driven by the FOMO factor, fear of missing out, that we should not miss out. So that brings us to the other big points that you have made recently, especially in your through a Facebook post. You have raised this very important question: why people should do all these symbolic things to kind of present themselves as religious, or people who believe in some religion or God or something like that. Your argument is that that we can do without all this. So can you give me the kind of the thought process that you took you to this idea?
Sure. When I read in the press and in the television that so many people, the private report is that over 1,000 people died. The official report says something else, and then people dying in railway stations. Not only that, even in other religions, Christianity, I saw a pathetic report that a lady, on Christmas Day, after performing the mass at 12 at night, she was returning and she was gang raped. Our Muslim brothers fight in the name of God. They call it holy war. I said, is it the understanding of religion by even educated people? I wonder. You see, in any religion, or they are under the spell of the political patronage of the religion, so that they are not using their head to understand the essence of religion. For instance, expressing your loyalty to a particular religion, or going and doing prasad in a temple, will that secure the spiritual blessings that you're seeking? No. The answer is no. There is a commandment in the Bible that unless you love your brother, you do not love me, and you won't get my blessings. Likewise, even in all religions, it says it is the good work, the God's work, the good work that you do, that really pleases God and secures blessings. So if you do not do that, and there are several forms of worship. Even in Hinduism, there is Bhakti Yoga, Vibhuti Yoga, Visada Yoga, and Karma Yoga.
That's true.
You see, and people forget the Karma Yoga and focus on the prayer and the Bhakti Yoga, having a dip, or doing a prasad, or saying a prayer in the church. That's not enough. That's really part of your religion, part of your worship, very small part. What matters is how disciplined you are, what is your moral compass, and how are you doing God's work really? Meaning helping your fellow human beings, solidarity, compassion, fellow feeling, sacrifice. These are the values that God expects us to embrace, not just worshipping. And I don't see any religion prioritizing just prayer over anything else. So I think it is a false consciousness, and I don't know why educated people are also falling for it.
Well, I think this is the situation. We can say that this is how these times are. These times have become like this. They have become a kind of a big, huge, irrational trick for a lot of people.
Yeah.
What you are emphasizing is essentially drawing upon some of the basic tenets of our own spiritual practices. You are saying that fellowship and helping your solidarity and helping your fellow citizens, that is the real form of worship. But there was a time when people like Mahatma Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru and people like Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and Ram Manohar Lohia, or they kind of advocated, they were all leaders of our national movement, they advocated the principles that you're talking about, But unfortunately, you are not seeing this kind of signal coming from the national leadership. So, do you think that it's a time for a movement to kind of reclaim these values?
Absolutely, absolutely. Mahatma Gandhi's famous statement is that work is worship and duty is God.
Yeah.
And in Sanatana Dharma, your dharma is really your duty. You see, let me give an example. The difference between bhakti, symbolic worship, and your practical work that you should do. Every vehicle in India, has the image of a god or a goddess, whichever religion, or Christ or Allah. But why that car then meets with an accident and people in the car die? You see? So
That will also be treated as God's will.
you see,
For example, even people when they died in the stampede at Kumbh
Yes.
Mela, there was a stream of opinion which said that this is to give them instant moksha. God has designed their death at the sangam, so that they get instant moksha. I think that will also be interpreted like that.
yes, I know, but then Venkatesh, this is absolutely stupid, and they are all in complete darkness. They have no understanding of the religion. So let me complete this analogy. So when you meet with an accident. Why does it happen? It happens because you are not following the traffic discipline. You are not being responsible to the fellow drivers. You are not really reading the road. You see. So when you do this, you face the consequences. Why people do not prioritize or focus on action? Because actions have consequences and responsibility as well as accountability, both for individuals as well as collectives, even the government officials. That's why they don't talk of action. Nobody claims responsibility when such things happen. People are responsible for managing the crowd, and they fail to do that. You see, then they will say it's God's will. So that is not correct. You see, God's will work only when you follow an order, which is also dictated by God, but people don't do it. You have a moral responsibility. Responsibility is moral, a moral compass. Then accountability is legal. You see, and people avoid it for their own convenience.
Right.
Yeah. So I would say that there is, to answer your question, there is certainly a need for a renaissance of religions. Religion is not a bad thing, provided you understand it in a true sense. Then use it in your life as it should be, legitimately, not as a part of Western interest or political interest or any other ulterior interest. Those things will not work. So, and I would say what happened in Kumbh Mela and other religious practices, which are, as you said in the beginning, symbolic, is unfortunate, and this is a consequence of a very faulty and a cluttered understanding of a religion. It's not a true understanding of religion. All religions emphasize. I was talking to a Muslim friend, Venkatesh. He said we have 5 things in Islam, and one is zakat, the last thing which he said that you have to give to people. That people forget. You see, namaz is one, and there are 5 this thing everybody knows. So one is zakat. One is to share with others. You see, that is also a responsibility. Form of worship. And that Prophet Muhammad enjoined that responsibility upon them, but they don't perform it. You see, so Kumbh Mela teaches us that how we should really understand the depth of our religion and practice it, not be swayed or emotionally by the propaganda that you will get redemption. All your sins will be washed if you have a holy dip in Kumbh. That is far from the truth, really.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Giri. I'm sure that that the investigation, that inquiry that you have done into the real Kumbh Mela and what has exactly happened there and the manner in which you are pursuing it is only the beginning. You have a larger issue of trying to bring in some kind of communal harmony and solidarity with fellow human beings as part of religious practices. That is your fundamental idea. So I think the movement that you have initiated, along with some of your friends and associates and independent observers, will kind of make some progress. Let us hope it makes some progress in these irrational times. With that wish, we'll conclude this conversation. We'll of course continue to interact in the future also. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Pleasure being here. Thank you.